Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Sripad Saparipajikacharya Ashtottara Sri Srimad AC Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kumikiti Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ramana Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj, and thank you everyone for joining us for a Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Friday, September 23rd, 2022. Tonight we're reading again in the 3rd canto, 8th chapter, starting tonight with verse number 16. Chapter is called Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And we're very eager, as always, to hear your comments and questions. And just, I think it's a timely reminder to, if you see that Maharaj is reading in the chat box, try to not type anything in there. It makes things difficult. And we're also looking for a volunteer to lead tonight's closing kirtan, so please keep that in mind and step forward at the appropriate time. And we're so happy you could be with us tonight, Maharaj. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Kendra Prabhu, and thank you to all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasyam Sachambho Rupakarnikayam Avastito Lokam Apashamana Parikraman Vyomni Vivrta Netras Chatvari Leve Nudisham Mukhani. Brahma, born out of the lotus flower, could not see the world, although he was situated in the whirl. He therefore circumambulated all of space, and while moving his eyes in all directions, he achieved 4 heads in terms of the 4 directions. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Vina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Vina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tadamayam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Shagrashatam Shagana Raghunathan Vitamsam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sandho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabdhan Sute Devi Pranamami Puri Priye Mancha Gopatavubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Lord Brahma finds himself alone on the lotus, and Akashamana Lokam is not able to see the world, so he circumambulates the flower, circumambulates space, and seeks to find out what's going on. And in that effort, he develops these 4 heads. Any questions, comments? Okay. Tasmad Yuganta Swashanava Gurna Shalormi Chakrat Shalilad Virutam Upashita Kanjam Ulokatattvam Natmanamatavidad Adideva. Lord Brahma, situated in that lotus, could not perfectly understand the creation, the lotus, or himself. At the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move the water and the lotus in great circular waves. So this, you'll remember, so this is Yuganta at the end of the cycle of 4 ages. The Brahma couldn't understand Kanjam, the lotus flower, or Lokatattvam, what's going on with the world, Na-Atman, or himself either. So all of this was astonishing, perplexing, bewildering. Adideva, he's the first created person, but he couldn't perfectly understand what's going on. Purport: Lord Brahma was perplexed about his creation, the lotus, and the world, even though he tried to understand them for 1 millennium, which is beyond calculation in the solar years of human beings. No one, therefore, can know the mystery of the creation and cosmic manifestation simply by mental speculation. The human being is so limited in his capacity that without the help of the Supreme, he can hardly understand the mystery of the will of the Lord in terms of creation, continuance, and destruction. Even Lord Brahma was not able to understand the situation of the universe, his own situation, the lotus on which he resided. All of this was perplexing to him, astonishing to him. Here I am on this lotus, surrounded by vast space, and with no one else present. And now with this wind and everything being stirred up in whirlpools. So even the most intelligent person, Adi Kavi, by his own power, couldn't understand these things. Any questions, comments? Srila Vishwanath has a nice purport. Let's read that. Brahma was bewildered about how to create what had previously been created. Bewildered in order to show the people that his power to create the universe does not belong to him, but is given by the Lord. This is shown in this verse. He took shelter of the lotus, which arose, virutam, from the water. The particle u expresses astonishment. He did not know the nature of the planets or the living beings. The water had whirlpools churned up by the wind of devastation. Ka esha yosavaham abja prishta etat kuto vabjam ananyadapsu asti yatastad iha kinchanayatad adhishtitam yatra sadanubhavyam. Lord Brahma, in his ignorance, contemplated, who am I that am situated on the top of this lotus? Wherefrom has it sprouted? There must be something downwards, and that from which this lotus has grown must be within the water. Purport. The subject matter of the speculations of Brahma in the beginning regarding the creation of the cosmic manifestation is still the subject matter for mental speculators. The most intelligent man is he who tries to find the cause of his personal existence and that of the whole cosmic creation, and thus tries to find the ultimate cause. If his attempt is properly executed with penances and perseverance, it is sure to be crowned with success. So this is Prabhupada praises as intelligent. Ka esha yosavaham. Who am I? What am I doing here? What is this lotus? An intelligent person must be inquisitive, and specifically inquisitive about the cause behind his own existence and the existence of the world. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. This is the beginning of human life. Without inquiry about the origin of things, there's no real difference between the human being and the animals. Children are naturally inquisitive about the origin of things. Where did this come from? But where did that come from? But where did that come from? They naturally tend to follow the chain. And modern cosmologists are also concerned with these questions. How did the universe arise? Where does it come from? Of course, they're committed to the project that Lord Brahma, as we'll see, soon gives up, the project of trying to understand everything by empiric observation and mental speculation with small and imperfect minds. The cosmologists, materialistic cosmologists, want to reduce everything to material causes. Jagadavhuranishram. They deny any divine cause. Everything comes from matter only. This is their dogmatic assertion. But we'll find out, and because that's as far as you can go with your mind and your intelligence, the unfortunate person will just come to the wall of matter and be stopped there. But a person who's more fortunate, who has a background of piety, Prabhupada says here, penance, penance and perseverance, can understand there must be a divine origin to everything. One may not know what that origin is, but an intelligent person will think there must be something more than the material causes that I can detect or the mathematical formulas I can apply. Any questions or comments? Vijay Krishna. Krishna Kontia says, what are the bounds of space? 3816. Yes, according to Vedic cosmology, space is not unlimited. In modern scientific thinking, as far as I know, there's just unlimited space. Perhaps that's changed. At least in the popular conception, space is just unlimited. But according to Vedic calculation, there are specific measurements for space. In the fifth canto, we'll find the size of the universe. We'll find the limits of this material world. Exactly where Brahma went in circumambulating the lotus or circumambulating space is maybe difficult for us to know. No, the details aren't given here. He went from here to there, but he covered a lot of ground and developed 4 heads in the process. So exactly where he went, there's something called Antariksha, which is described in the 5th canto, which may sometimes correspond to the conception of space. But in any case, there's limited territory that he covered, but it was vast. I hope that answers the question. And Vijay Krishna says, is it accurate to say that the perplexity of Lord Brahma and his trying to understand the creation, the lotus, and the world are indications of how intelligent he was? It is said that to be introspective is a strong sign of high intelligence. Yes, Adi Kavi, he's the most original and most intelligent person. And so naturally, he's not like a dullard. Well, here I am on the lotus. I guess this is it, just darkness and I don't know. He's not dull like that. He's keenly inquisitive. What's the source of it, of my existence? Who am I? What am I doing here? These are the questions that will come to an intelligent person. Okay.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
You're welcome.
And it's interesting, both Vishwanath and Srila Prabhupada begin by, no, it's not both Prabhupada, it's Vishwanath who begins, that in ignorance Brahma asks these questions. He's intelligent, but ignorant. Ignorant doesn't mean that he's foolish. It means he doesn't know. He doesn't know where he came from. He doesn't know who he is. And so he's inquiring. Kendra Prabhu.
Oh, thank you so much, Maharaj. I was thinking when I read this last purport that the flip side of the intelligent person seeking out the origin of his self and of creation is the verse that apashyatam atmatatvam griheshu grihamaedinam, that whatever's around me, that's okay. I've got it by my hard work and it's all right. Maybe I had bad fortune to be born in a family of the sort of, maybe not exactly dullards that you're impersonating there, but there's a certain tendency I've seen that, if there's something that you don't know, say the extent of introspection that's being described in these purports, then you kind of laugh it off as if it's not that important and you really don't have to think about these things, and as long as you earn enough money, you'll be okay, and just don't worry. That's like the unintelligent, I guess, flip side of the intelligence that's being talked about here.
Yeah, griheshu grihamedina. If there's sex, what else matters? We have our engagement, so we don't have to think about other things. Why worry my head with all these questions? Let's get on with a happy life. The mode of passion, the mode of goodness leads to inquiry and knowledge. Sattvat sanjayate jnana. The person in goodness, or let's say that goodness leads to such inquiry as this. Passion. In passion, we just want to enjoy whatever there is. Well, I wonder what resources this lotus has to offer. If we dig into the petals, will we find some gold or petroleum or something that we could profit from? They want to go to the moon, either for defense or for profit. Or there are others who they say, I don't know how honestly, that we want to discover deeper truths about the universe, and that's why we're spending all this money. I sort of doubt that the governments, American government and other such governments, spends billions of dollars because they want to understand deeper truths about the universe. I tend to think they have baser motives. But in any case, from passion comes exploitation. From ignorance, why even ask? As you say, they're dullards. And from goodness comes the natural impulse to inquire. Thank you. Murari Saraswati. It would seem those Brahmas with more than 4 heads traveled multi-dimensions. Also, yes, it does seem that way. They probably put it simply that they have bigger universes. I'm not quite sure what multi-dimensions would be. But yes, they had larger or more extensive domains to investigate, and so they had more heads. Also, many materialists cannot muster the leap of faith to admit and inquire about origin of things, and accepting that there's a higher power that is all-knowing that we need to surrender to. Well, we don't ask them to immediately leap. First of all, admit that you're ignorant. That will be a good start. Admit that we don't know the origin of things, and inquire about the origin of things. And inquire seriously. Prabhupada says that's the first question. What is the origin? And is that origin sentient or not sentient? That should be the next question. Is it like a rock or some other material thing? No consciousness, no, simply elemental in some way? Or is the source of everything conscious, like a living being? We see these two categories. If we look at our own personal existence, there's my physical embodiment, which is made of stuff. And then there's consciousness, which is made of a different kind of stuff. Even if you think that consciousness arises from some mature combination of chemicals, consciousness is a different sort of a thing. It's a different sort of a thing, and an intelligent person can intuitively see that, or naturally see that. But there's a difference between a living person and a dead person, between a stone and an ant, between my consciousness and my physical embodiment. So, and a thoughtful person will see these two categories, and some of the intelligent inquirers will recognize what one scientist has called the hard problem of consciousness. What is consciousness? And it, again, a more perceptive inquirer or investigator will ask, is the origin of everything conscious, like me, or unconscious, not non-conscious, like a stone or some other material thing? Then we can come to the higher questions. What that higher power might be, if there's consciousness controlling everything. What is the nature of that supreme consciousness? What is my relationship? They don't have to start by just leaping, as in some religious doctrines, just accept that there's God and surrender. We have sufficient philosophy, we have sufficient thought, so that it's not merely a blind kind of surrender in which we put all intelligence on the shelf and just surrender. But there's a natural acknowledgement, as we'll see, that there are limits to our investigative power. that there's more going on than what we can perceive with our senses or even apprehend with our minds. Thank you for that. Murari says, children are famous for asking why over and over, which makes them more intelligent than scientists who don't get beyond what and how. Yes, children are naturally inquisitive, and our educational system tends to snuff out that inquisitive nature, to repress or badly misdirect that intelligence, so that we give up on the natural but hard questions of why, and then we just deal with manipulation, how and what, and put things in categories and see how we can manipulate them again for profit and advancement in trying to control and enjoy our world. Thank you for that, Mary. Rabin says, I read an article about children born of mothers who conceived in clinics and do not know the fathers. The children are trying to find their fathers. One child in an orphanage also tried to find his parents when he gave up. So it seems natural that for a child to find one's origin or father. Yes. Who is my father? What is my origin? But you see dramas where a young person dedicates himself to trying to solve the mystery of who his father is. But just his biological father. So what? When you finally find out that it was John Smith, what great benefit is there? But the intelligent person tries to find the original father. Vijay Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says in his purport that without the help of the Supreme, the human being can hardly understand the mystery of the will of the Lord. What price do we need to pay in order to get such a blessing, such indispensable help? Well, that we'll find in coming verses, but Srila Prabhupada gives us a hint in this purport that penances and persistence are required. Penance and perseverance. It's not just an offhand question. I wonder where I came from. Well, who knows? Perseverance. One has to be, again, in the television drama or what have you, the young man is obsessed with understanding who his biological father is. He won't give up until he finds out. That's what it takes. Just an offhand inquiry, a sort of idle curiosity that can be overshadowed by or set aside, swept aside by any passing scurry. Is not going to help him. One has to be perseverant, and penance is also required. If we're simply trying to enjoy sense gratification, we're not going to get deeply into understanding these questions and their answers.
Maharaj, the first words heard by Lord Brahma were tapas, no?
Yes, we'll come to that. Yes.
So, because you are insisting on perseverance and austerity.
Yes.
And that is what Lord Brahma heard from Lord Krishna. If you want to understand me, then go for austerities.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
You're welcome.
Prem Sindhu Prabhu.
Yes, Maharaj. Question about this. I'm joining in the middle. So, this millennium, at the end of the millennium, is that like the start of the day of Brahma when he starts creating, or is it like in the middle of the day of Brahma when the millennium ends? Because there are 1,000 millenniums in one day of
Well,
Brahma.
time gets very interesting here. And thank you for the question. It appears that the millennium here is the end of 1,000 yugas. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Yadahur Brahma. So that would be a day of Brahma.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the time frame indicated here. 1,000 millennia is mentioned in the text.
So then at the end of the day of Brahma, there is devastation also, right?
Yes.
And then night, then again he creates the next day when he gets up, again he creates is in the next day.
Yes, there's partial devastation and he has to recreate things, yes.
So again he becomes bewildered like how he was at the start of the creation, that when he was born on the, is that this?
I don't see that mentioned, that every day he wakes up and says, what's going on? At the beginning of his life, this is there. But there are, well, as the text proceeds, there really are questions about where we are in Brahma's time. Not where we are now, but where we are as the text is unfolding. So we'll come to that as we go along. But at least here, it seems clear that these questions are arising for Brahma after 1,000 yuga cycles, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Is that okay?
That means at the end, because one day is 1,000 yuga cycles. So is it the after the night of Brahma? Is it the question is arising, or the 1,000 yuga cycle?
I really don't know, because the text doesn't say, okay, at the end of 1,000 yuga cycles, night came in. It doesn't say that in the text. Night doesn't enter the picture. So we're left to wonder. I don't have an answer to that. I've been puzzling myself over the last couple of days about time anchors in the text here, exactly when things are happening. And if someone has a good reference for that, that will help. But at least at this point, we're given that much information that it's that 1,000 millennia have passed. Brahma's been apparently thinking about these things for 1,000 millennia. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. The Kaesha Yosava Mantra Prishta, who am I? Etat Kuto Vajam, Ananya Apsu. And I'm sitting on this lotus, and you can imagine the scene. Here we are in the middle of space, sitting on a lotus, and this wind picks up, and there's whirlpools in the water below, and the lotus is also moving. What's going on here? Asti hi adastat. He means certainly, definitely. Adastat, the origin must be below. Yes. So intelligently, he asks these questions. Let's see. Yeah, we haven't read this yet. Kaesha yosad aham abja prishta etat kuto vabjam ananyad apsu asti hidastad iha kinchanai tad adhishtitam yatra satanubhavyam. Where Brahma in his ignorance contemplated. Yes, here, this is where Prabhupada says the same thing as Vishwanath. Vishwanath has said in ignorance, Brahma is asking. So where Brahma in his ignorance contemplated, who am I that am situated on the top of this lotus? Wherefrom has it sprouted? There must be something downwards. And that from which this lotus has grown must be within the water. Purport. Yes, well, we read that purport. Okay, good. And yes, in ignorance. So Prabhupada and Vishwanath both say that. It must be something, some cause. It can't be causeless. Well, I'm just here. There must be some reason that I'm here. There must be some cause for my existence. There must be some cause for the existence of the world. It can't just be. There must be some reason, some source. Saitam udviksha tarabjanala naribhir antar jalam avivesha narvagatastat kadam nala nala nabhim vichinvams tadavindatajaha. Lord Brahma, thus contemplating, entered the water through the channel of the stem of the lotus. But in spite of entering the stem and going nearer to the navel of Vishnu, he could not trace out the root. Purport. By dint of one's personal endeavor, one may go nearer to the Lord. But without the Lord's mercy, one cannot reach the ultimate point. Such understanding of the Lord is possible only by devotional service, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Bhaktya mama vijanati yavan yas chasmi tatvata. Yes. And Vishwanath comments, this verse shows that with the will of the Lord, all attempts by materials will end in failure. Without the help of the Lord, all of our efforts will result in failure. And that's our modern experience. There's so many speculations and doctrines about where we come from. But it all ends in nothing. The anthropologists, you think of Leakey and finding our ancestors, Lucy or this one or that one, going into Olduvai Gorge in South Africa and finding bones and making progress and understanding our original ancestors. You're not getting anywhere. You're just looking at bones and understanding, according to your speculative method, something about a family tree. Even that you're getting wrong. But even if you were to get it right, you're only looking back through the rocks for some thousands of years, and you're not getting to the ultimate questions. You're distracted. You're distracted. You're short-sighted. You're obsessed with what's immediately around you, and you just don't have what it takes to go further. Again, the cosmologists who it's all a Big Bang, but where's the intelligence to go further? It's ask where the ingredients, the forces that came to play in the supposed Big Bang, where they came from, how they got there. Why don't we ask those questions? Why do we just compete in mathematical prowess to arrive at some theory of cosmic origins and not go further? So without going further, everything ends up in failure. We don't really understand. Even Brahma doesn't just ask, what is this lotus? He asks, who am I that I'm sitting on the lotus? The crucial question. Sanatana Goswami, Kayami. Keneyamai Jayādvaita. He asks Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who am I? So the intelligent person wants to know that. And he's not satisfied with superficial answers. You're an American, you're Tom Smith, you're a Christian, you're a Hindu. He wants to know deeply, who am I really? And where do I come from? And where does this world come from? Where does life come from? They're so foolish, the origin of life, but it comes from carbon and hydrogen, oxygen, and what is it, nitrogen, the building blocks of life. You blockhead, where did these elements come from? And where did the plan come from? Or the arrangement come from to put these blocks together? A thoughtful person has to go further. And again, it requires some penance and some piety to go in the right direction. Otherwise, the most brilliant minds, and some of these scientists are admittedly super brilliant, but brilliance minus piety, brilliance minus good fortune, let's say, goodness, brilliance minus some connection with the Lord, some mercy from the Lord, will result in this atheistic sort of satyam apratishtante jagadam, from this demonic view that matter can account for everything. We were reading that in the previous purport, why don't people surrender? And one answer given was a lack of spiritual credit. There's stubborn obstinacy and a lack of spiritual credit. So Brahma is the most pious person in the universe that we read elsewhere. He's the most pious person in the universe. He's not some sort of loser. He's so pious, he's so exalted that he's eligible to be helped by Krishna. Without Krishna's help, even Brahma can't understand. Atapi te deva padam yamdvaya usarale shanavite janati tattvam bhagavan. Chiram Tichimpai. Nayam Atma Pravachanena Lapyo Metaya Bhavana Shruti. It means, Tapite Deva in the last word, Evapi Chiram, Nachanya Eko Pichiram. My Lord, if one is favored by even slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or to understand anything, are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. Ekendra Prabhu.
Oh, thank you so much, Maharaj. I so much appreciate all the points you're making. One image came to mind when you were discussing the Olduvai Gorge, for example, that the attempt to really come to a solid conclusion about the origins of life and the universe through just studying, physical deposits and sedimentary layers. It reminds me as if you're trying to understand the algorithms and purpose behind Google by just putting a microscope on the plastic keys on your keyboard. You won't get that far. And there's an image that came to mind when I was reading this purport. It said, by dint of one's personal endeavor, one may go nearer to the Lord, but without the Lord's mercy, you cannot reach the ultimate point. I was thinking how the image of someone coming nearer to the Lord, but in the darkness, you can't see, but you're getting closer. But then it takes, as you say, so much persistence and perseverance and penance until you get nearer and nearer, and the Christian then just says, all right, come here.
The last line of Vishnu's purport, though he approached very close, he wanted to find the source of the lotus. Though he approached very close, he could not reach it, since it's impossible to reach without bhakti.
Like Kalyavana running very fast.
Never quite catching up with Krishna. Yes. Okay. Anything else? Prem Sindhu Prabhu.
So sometimes it is said through Sankhya, analytical study also, we can reach the same conclusion. I think in Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse like that one reaches the same conclusion by Sankhya, which is analytical study of the different elements, and then one comes to the same point but it doesn't seem like it. I don't know how. I can't find the verse, but I think there is somewhere in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that.
Third chapter, I think. The Sankhya will help us understand that we're not this body. Sankhya Yoga Pratagpala Prabhadanti Pashrati Ekam Sankhyan Yogam Cha Yapashati Supashati. By Sankhya, one can understand, or by yoga, one can understand, I'm not this body. But to understand the source of everything, even that, of course, theistic Sankhya philosophy, practically speaking, is bhakti. When we read the Sankhya propounded by Lord Kapiladev, it's not just a set of categories ticked off. but there's devotional service as the means to understand everything. The atheistic Sankhya philosophers just try to understand everything by speculation, and they leave out the essential element, the personality of Godhead, who activates everything. But the theistic Sankhya is non-different from yoga. Ekam Sankhya Yoga. They're not separate, they're not different. One Sankhya can't succeed without bhakti. Yoga can't succeed without bhakti. Nothing succeeds without bhakti. So Sankhya with bhakti, or theistic Sankhya, is what we get from Lord Kapil Dev. The one who follows that path will come to the right conclusion. Otherwise, just counting material elements, examining their properties, studying their interactions, looking at, speculating about their historical development, will just keep us going around and around in the material sphere, trying to figure things out and missing the larger issue, missing even our own selves.
So the theistic Sankhya has to be in conjunction with the scriptures, right? I mean, is it like we have to accept the scriptures, otherwise just Sankhya, just by trying to, talking about theistic Sankhya versus atheistic Sankhya. Is that the difference?
Yeah, the theistic Sankhya follows the scriptural directions. And even if one is just pious and assumes that there must be a higher power, that there must be, he can make greater progress than the stubborn, what's the word, arrogant, atheistic Sankhya speculator. Those people can never understand. But a person, if he thinks there must be something higher, there must be, he can make further progress. But really to make substantial progress, yes, Shastri only taught, we have to understand from the Shastras what is what. Then, quick, otherwise we're speculating, and we can travel on the road of speculation for millions of years and not get close to the origin of everything. But if we take to the path of bhakti, devotional service, under scriptural guidance, with the help of a bona fide spiritual master, then we can understand everything perfectly. And we see that in the example of Brahma.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's one more question, but if you like, you can keep it for the next session because we have reached the end of our time. We know that much about time, but now we've reached the end of our hour.
Yes, Maharaj, no problem.
Thank you. So we have a few minutes for Kirtan, and I wonder who would like to lead.
I can chant.
You're on.
Yes, Maharaj, you're very kind. Because I do not like to see you waiting for the for the ending kirtan to start. So here it goes. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Shrivad Paramahansa Pariprajaka Stotra Sri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shri Vashari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kunji Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Gauri Mani Ki Jai, Brahmana Mani Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gurudev.
Thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very well.
I'm not sure who that is, but thank you.
Vanananda.
Oh, Yogananda. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jai. Lakshmana, Hare Krishna.
Jai.
All right. Hare Krishna.
Thanks everyone for being here on a Friday evening, and hopefully we can see you again on Monday evening. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jayādvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.